Hey, Ryan. I hear that you like inappropriate humor, so I have what I think is a good one.
I don't know where that was derived from at all.
Shocking. Somebody might think you like inappropriate humor.
Maybe I've misrepresented myself.
Maybe a little bit.
All right, moving on.
A couple of years ago, up here in Alaska, I got pulled over by a state trooper.
He didn't say what he did to get pulled over.
Fair enough.
I hope it was like, hanging his wiener out the window or something driving down the road. All right. Told you I'm not inappropriate.
And his last name, and I shit you not, his last name was McWeenie.
Dude, wasn't that a menu item at McDonald's? The McWeenie. That sounds like if McDonald's did a hot dog, dude, like a specialty dog, they could call it the McWeenie.
And some McBoobies to go with it.
Some McBoobies to go with your McWeenie.
Tater tots or something.
McWeeny. Try saying that with a straight face.
I could not. I would have to look away and actually I might, if he felt like he was in the joking mood, ask him if he works at McDonald's.
Anyway, keep up the good work, guys, on the podcast and everything else, and maybe I'll be able to come down and see you.
Well, hell yeah. Please do that. And thank you so much for the voicemail. Penguin, an appropriate name from Alaska. Very awesome. lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Leave a voicemail from your computer microphone, your phone microphone for free. And that's a way for us to hear your lovely voices. And we get a lot of questions, which is great. But I like just the nice, kind of bantering and fun stuff like that too. So feel free. Leave us a voicemail. You want to make a joke. You want to, hack on us a little bit. We're not, that's fine. We may hack back, but, we're pretty easy going. So again, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. If you use the Law Abiding Biker app, we have our own app for listening and resources, and it's free over at lawabidingbiker.com/app, Android and iOS. And from there, you can also just say call, and it will leave us a voicemail on our phone. So however you want to do it, we're very accessible, and we love to hear your awesome voices. Hey, Bikeaholics. 03D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Gold Strike.
I like gold.
Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of 03D products. Adding products like crazy to the Law Abiding Biker store. We're so thankful to everybody that supports us through their shopping in our store. It is growing, and take advantage of all the opportunities over there. Don't forget, shopping in the Law Abiding Biker store, no tax on orders if you don't live in Washington State. You Patron members, 10% discount all year round on everything in the store, and free shipping over $100. Some great savings that you can take advantage of. And we're just a bunch of bikers helping as many bikers as we can worldwide, and that support means the world to us. We will take care of you. You will, if you need help, you can hit up the contact form on our store, lawabidingbiker.com/store. And one of the boys who eats, lives, and breathes motorcycles and uses many of the products, most of them in our store, will be able to answer your questions and guide you to the appropriate purchase. Don't forget, we have Shop Pay in there, guys. So if you can't afford it now, you can simply use Shop Pay and buy it now. And you can have the option to, you can pay in 4 equal payments, interest free. And we also have out of stock notifications set up over there for you guys. These are all things you guys wanted that we brought to the store over time. So if something's out of stock, over to the right hand of your screen, there'll be an out of stock notification. You can get a text, enter your email or phone number or both, and you'll be the instant Lurch restocks. The very instant. It will
very close to
fire off an auto email.
That's quick.
Like recent Kiriak and brake pedals, which are going fast, and we should be out of those real soon. So I'd get hooked up on those if you haven't. Don't worry, we still have our beloved soft brake, which is just top-notch quality, made right here in America. What else in the store, Lurch?
I just wanted to remind everybody, we have Saddleman seats, but not just the regular Saddleman seats. We've got heated Saddleman seats for you now as well.
Got one sitting right out here ready to go on my bike.
Can't wait to install that and play with it.
You're good at playing with it.
Yeah, that's true. In addition to the Fat Bagger's Easy Clutch Adjuster, we also have the aluminum clutch cable housing, so that gets rid of the lower portion of the plastic piece. The adjuster gets rid of the top. The aluminum piece clutch cable housing.
Speaking of Harley Davidson cable clutch motorcycles here, folks, if you're new.
Okay, great. It's good info there.
It is. It is, because people are like, is that a Japanese bike? Is that a Harley? Is that an Indian? Is that a Kawasaki? So these are for our fat bagger stuff right now is for Harley Davidson motorcycles with the clutch cable.
Okay, and also we have the complete upper cable. So you can start with just replacing your adjuster. You can add to that by doing the aluminum housing. That's a couple of affordable options. Or you can go and do the whole thing, which is the upper cable, which comes with the aluminum clutch cable housing. And it also moves your adjuster up near your controls, make it a lot easier to adjust.
Nice. And we just shot that video and installed it on my 24 Street Glide, and I have all my adjustment. I've got my PSR lever on there adjustable. I've got my cable clutch adjuster right there, just like kind of you see on dirt bikes and stuff. You can adjust it right up there, and I don't have to get off my bike, and I can make all the fine adjustments I want up there. Great product. That video will be coming out on the Law Abiding Biker YouTube channel. It is available in the store right now, and with that video is not out. I don't think I haven't put that out yet. It's ready to go, I think. Or did I?
It's hard to keep track. We have so much content.
I know we filmed it. We'll stop there. And it will be coming out. And don't forget, guys, anything that we do videos on, it will be, as far as a product or an install, whether it's a product review or an install or information, every single one of those videos, if you go to the Law Abiding Biker store, we embed those videos on the product listing. Go to the product listing, scroll down, you will see the video right there. It's one neat place where you can shop, and I guarantee if there's a video available on it, it will be embedded right there. All right. And with that said, suppose we should do a episode, huh?
Let's do that.
A lot of stuff going on here in 2025 with model releases, and we're going to dive in,
isn't it?
Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as
99%.
That's right, large and in charge of the motorcycle scene. That's right. By being here, by listening, you're part of what we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
You know, Lurch has just one question for you before we get started.
What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
Ryan Urlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
We are going to dive right in. So a lot of videos coming out. This episode is going to be basically the 2025 Indian. We just did the Harley one. We're recording two today. Harley introduced their 2025 models hard launch a week ago. And then as of today, not too far after that, Indian released their stuff. And so we did a Harley one. Go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. The Indian one, this very topic right here, is already on the YouTube channel. I just dropped it about an hour ago. So when you hear this, it's already on the YouTube channel. And then we're following up with both, of course, because we can talk in more depth. But essentially, it'll be about Indian and what they're doing here in 2025. But we're also going to compare. It's really going to be, if you're in the market for a Harley Davidson or Indian and you don't know which one to get, hopefully by the end of this episode, we will be able to, we're not here to steer you. We're here to be very objective and give you information so that you can make your own decision. But it is hard to sift through all the stuff. We've done the work for you. That's what we do here. And so kick back and listen. And then at the end, you can make a decision on which bike or company may be right for you. Again, not here to steer you. But with that said, along many other videos, this is another video that came out on the channel that Lurch wants to tell you about.
This is the quick and easy how to install a 4-point docking hardware on your Harley Davidson 2024 and present models. The link will be in the show notes.
Yep, OEM stuff there, guys. And of course, I put that on my bike because I bought a trunk to put on my Street Glide, a OEM Harley trunk, color matched, and you'll need that docking hardware, whether it's a trunk, whether it's a passenger backrest, whether you want to put a luggage rack. It's all 4-point docking, and there is a bit more to it than meets the eye, honestly.
It's kind of finicky.
It is kind of finicky, and there's some certain ways you need to do things. Yep. You need to test width and things like that. But again, law-abiding biker style, of course, a very detailed step-by-step tutorial video free of charge without skipping any steps to help you get that bad boy mounted. Now, love our sponsors. And I'll just say 2025 here, there's no better time to become a patron member. It is very easy to get signed up. You basically, sign up for a monthly subscription, and then you choose the benefits that you want to receive. With that said, here's the dealio. One of those huge benefits is our patron meetup, ride, and event and social event. And it is sanctioned. We are the hosts of it, and it's going to be in Canada this year. Here's what you need to know: July 21st, 2025. Okay. Now, very shortly after this episode, maybe tomorrow or the next day, we're going to pump the actual sign up form out. I would get signed. If you're not a patron, you need to get signed up ASAP, because one of the requirements usually to sign up is you have to be a patron member 3 months before the actual event. So what, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah. So you'll have to get signed up, and we do vet that. And so here's the deal. It's going to be in the greater Banff, Canada area. So here's what you need to know at this point. You might want to get a hotel. A lot of them have cancellation policies, but at least you secured it. But the event will be July 21st. Usually we get started in the morning around 10 or 11 a.m. We meet and greet till, for an hour. And then we go on a ride. We end up at a place where we have our social event, a catered meal and all that. And then we wind down about latest at 6 o'clock. So like 10 to 6, I'd block out. But you need to account for time to ride to the meet location and all that. That's all forthcoming. So that gives you an idea. Maybe you want to roll in the 20th, July 20th, and stay the night so you're ready in the morning, or maybe you don't. Maybe you'll just wherever you live, cruise in. You may want to stay that night after the event, but that's all up to you. But that's the event, July 21st, 2025. Expect, to be safe, block out 9 to 6. And more details coming for those members that are vetted and meet the requirements, mid-level or above. Always for these events is what we require when we do a sanctioned event. So, get signed up. That's one of the many, many benefits. Don't forget access to, T-shirts and stickers. We send those free. You get access to live video broadcasts and chat. Your patron discount code in the store year-round. Access to premium videos and for top tier members. And, of course, access to, like I say, these ride, meetup, and events. Don't forget, also, we're recording this episode. You'll get podcasts early. As soon as we record them, we upload them to your patron accounts. If you're a regular non-patron member, you could be getting this some of these episodes up to 2 months later. They go out immediately to our patrons. So the other thing I want to say on patrons that we haven't mentioned a lot is everything you need. So we do stuff on Instagram. We do stuff on Facebook. We do stuff on YouTube. We do stuff on the website. We do stuff on the podcast. We're everywhere. A lot of places. The one place that if you want to it's the Patron app. Everything I post, no matter where it is spread across the interwebs, it is all posted in your Patron account. So whether that's a short video, whether that's a long form video, whether it's an article, everything is there. So if you want to follow along and you don't want to miss anything from us, that's what I would do. That's another huge benefit. And they have a great app, and you can just go right into the Law Abiding Biker, support page for me, and every post with links. And a lot of those posts are, you can only access if you're mid-level or above, live video broadcast and chat. But anyways, you want to see where everything is. And then, of course, there's links in there to take you out to different things, but everything is there. It's probably the easiest way to follow, right, Lurch? And we don't mention that a lot.
It's true.
I've been doing that this year and late 24, just everything is in there for you. So with that said, main topic, we're going to dive in. We are on a little bit of a crunch time, but we'll still have plenty of time to discuss everything. So again, just preface, Lurch, we're not here to steer anybody. We did a video. It's like 26 minutes long, but it is packed with information. If you want to see us, it was kind of fun too. We had some jokes in there. Me and Lurch screwing with each other, more like me screwing with Lurch. Sorry. Yeah. Lurch is so patient with me. Very, very patient. But with that said, this is really, it's not going to be very subjective. It's very objective. Some of it will be based on some experience. We'll give some opinions, but at the end of the day, we want to give you the information, dig in deep so that you, again, can make a decision on, am I buying an Indian or am I in the market for a Hardy? And you can tell yourself, this is why. A lot of this stuff is hard to find when you're doing back-to-back, but me and Lurch spent hours. And then, of course, we talked about it all afternoon. So I think, Lurch, you want to start with one of the big things, unveiling of the PowerPlus 112 family, and explain what that's all about.
Yeah, they've bumped up to the 112. So there's some other motors that are available. There's the Thunder.
Thunderstroke air-cooled between you. That's all right.
You got the Thunderstroke and the 111 and the 116. And you have the PowerPlus, which is a 108, and now the 112. So the PowerPlus is their liquid-cooled motor. And they're able to crank out some more horsepower out of that bad boy. And through testing, through King of the Baggers and everything, they've come up with this new 112, and it is going into several, or at least optional in several of the bagger models.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you guys remember, and if you go watch the video of this, you'll see in the background is the Indian Pursuit that Indian sent me well over a year ago, and we've had it ever since. I did a review, and that video blew up on YouTube. If you're really interested in the Indian Pursuit and whether it meets the mark for a touring bike, head over to that video, and we'll link to it in the show notes, Lurch will, but watch that video. But we still have that bike, and that was the 108 PowerPlus liquid cool, very revvy motor. Mm-hmm. Super cool motor.
Pulled the front tire off the ground from what I saw.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's in the thumbnail, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and you saw it in person.
Yeah.
You were taking some video.
Might have been videoing.
That might have been you. So we had fun with that bike. We still have it. If you're in the Union Gap, Washington area where the Law Abiding Biker store is, you can stop by, say hi to us, and you could also see the Indian Pursuit that I rode and reviewed. So that was the 108, and this is the next level. They're amping it up to the 112 and a cubic inch, and same motor, just, higher, what do I want to say? Cubic inches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Larger. What else do we want to say about the PowerPlus? I'm just looking over our notes here. So yeah, that's go ahead.
I can say what Indian had to say about it.
Yeah.
What they say is that they refined the bagger and touring bike category with their PowerPlus 112 lineup. This family of motorcycles blends heritage-inspired design with cutting-edge performance and technology. It all started with the Challenger platform and the PowerPlus 108 engine, like you had mentioned. Riders love that engine so much that Indian expanded it across the lineup, resulting in the PowerPlus 112. According to them, the most sophisticated V-twin engine on the market.
And as always, this channel, this podcast, the YouTube channel, we don't just gawk at bikes when I review them. I really dive in. I'm appreciative of having access and things like that. But there's pros and cons to the Indian Pursuit. And I really, really encourage you, just like there's pros and cons to Harleys. But I really encourage you to watch that video because I learned some things, and we're going to talk about a few of those pros and cons as we go through this episode here. We'll just kind of recap a few of those because they're worth noting, and a few things that I hope they changed with the new models.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the 2025 PowerPlus lineup, what do we got, Lurch, for that? This is I want you to key in on that. We've got a lot of different things going on in Indian and different models, and it took me until today where I really have a handle on it.
It took me a little bit too doing the research because there is the Chieftain lineup, but then there's also the Chieftain PowerPlus lineup. And then there's the Roadmaster and the Roadmaster PowerPlus lineup. In addition to that, so those you can get the PowerPlus 112 in those bikes. In addition to that, you can also get it in the Indian Challenger and the Indian Pursuit.
May I just interject for a second?
Sure. Yeah.
Because we often, I'm guilty of it too. We have a lot of listeners that they can't spout off models, right? Mm-hmm. And don't quite understand that. So as we go on, this will make more sense, but why I'm telling you this, but I want you to be clear, and because I think a lot of people understand Harley models probably because there's more out there rather than Indian models. So,
and Indian's getting a little bit bloated like Harley used to be as well.
Yes, we did note that. Mm-hmm. Harley over the years has really streamlined things, and they've consolidated, especially this year and last year. And it's a much easier lineup. I think it makes more sense, but make no mistake about it. 5 years ago, Harley was where Indian is. And now we have their website's actually very confusing. Not so much the website, but just the amount of bikes. And you're like, is this a Chieftain PowerPlus, or is this a Chieftain? Is this the Thunderstroke 111? Is this air cooled? Is this water cooled? Oh, it's a 108. It's a 111. They've kind of run amok a little bit with the amount of models. So Harley cleaned all that up. And that's not a plus or minus. Both companies go through changes. But here's what I wanted to say. So if we're just comparing it to Harley, this is what always helps me. Okay, so Harley Street Glide, the version of that for Indian is called the Chieftain.
Mm-hmm.
The Road Glide for the shark nose fairing for Harley Direct Indian Challenger is what that is. So those are your Batwing, your Road Glide, and your Street Glide. The Chieftain, Batwing, Indian, shark nose. And then we get into the full touring. Your Roadmaster is your Batwing fairing, similar to your Harley Ultra Limited. That's the Batwing. And the Indian Pursuit is your shark nose version, say a Road Glide Limited. Okay. Full touring, passenger backrest speakers, those two bikes. So hopefully that's how I always do it. I have to tell myself because then I can do direct comparisons, and hopefully that will help you too.
And then they have an Elite series.
We forgot
the Roadmaster and the Challenger, which are similar to like a CVO version of both of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding us of that. Yeah. I forget about that. It is.
Oh, and don't forget the Dark Horse.
The Dark Horse.
And the Limited.
Which is their like black bikes. It's insane over there. And we're good with bikes in the industry, but even me and Lurch, like even right now, we're like, oh yeah, that's what we forgot about it is a lot. You don't really know. You're like, I don't even know what I need. That's what we're here for. We're going to do some direct comparisons so you know which bikes you could actually be comparing if you're pricing things out as far as, what they have to offer and prices and things like that. We'll get into that. But yeah, they're bringing the PowerPlus 112 to the entire bagger and touring lineup. As Lurch stated, you can get other bikes, the older Thunderstroke air-cooled and the Chieftain and stuff, but you at least have the option if you want to get the PowerPlus in their bagger lineup. So Lurch, do you want to talk? We're just going to do an overview here of kind of the specs of this PowerPlus 112 liquid cooled motor to give you an idea what's about. And then we're also going to, after we do that, we'll do a direct comparison with motors between Harley and kind of where we're at there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said previously, the 108 was the PowerPlus. That's what was in the Pursuit that we tested. Now moving on to the 112. And this 112, they can get 20% more horsepower and torque out as compared to traditional engines with, liquid cooling, overhead cams, dual throttle bodies, and a modern marvel designed for both power and efficiency.
From their press release?
Yes. And more from their press release is that Indian's innovative engineering includes features like electronically combined braking, which we'll talk about, ride-enhanced technology, and advanced chassis for superior handling.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that heritage meets modern. This design pays homage to Indian's history while embracing a bold, aggressive style that appeals to today's riders. And that's something that both the big boys are trying to do. Indian and Harley are trying to stay true to their roots, but they've got to bring in newer riders, and newer riders are going to be attracted to different things. This motor, because the way it is set up, it's liquid-cooled engine with overhead cams and 4 valves per cylinder. It's a high-revving motor. It likes to be up in the RPMs. That's where it performs best. I would say much higher than a standard 45-degree V-twin, which makes a lot of grunt and power at a lower RPM.
Yeah. And with that said, just so you guys know, when you're talking about this liquid cool 112, because I wrote it, the Pursuit, quite extensively, and Lurch has too, I want you to understand, you're not going to get on this bike. It is not going to feel like a traditional Harley V-twin. It is not going to feel like a traditional Indian Thunderstroke V-twin. It is it's a much more metric feel. Not everybody's for that. Some people are. Again, we're not here to steer you. You just need to know you can't just go buy a 112 and go, it really doesn't feel like a Thunderstroke 111. Yeah, well, it's not. If you want that, you need to go with the 45-degree V-twin. Now, you can do the same with Harley. You could jump on a Pan America. It is not anything near a Harley 45-degree V-twin. So you just have to know what you're getting into and what kind of sound and feel. And we'll get more into power and torque, but where you want that at, because it can be delivered at higher RPMs or lower RPMs. There's just a lot that goes into it. But I just wanted you to know it's a much more metric feel on that.
Absolutely. So let's do a little bit of a comparison here. We'll talk about the Harley first, the Indian first. Already mentioned it's 112 cubic inch, 16 degree V twin. It's running 126 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 133 foot-pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM. As compared to the Harley-Davidson M8 117, which is a 45 degree V twin, it's running 105 horsepower at 4,600 RPM and 130 foot-pounds of torque at 3,250 RPM. So you'll see that the power is coming on a little lower in the RPM range on the Harley.
Yeah, and a lot of people hear that. They're like, oh my God, Indian has 126 horsepower. Harley, that 117 only at 105. That's what people that don't do research and don't really take everything into account. Numbers on paper are one thing. And that's not to say, good job, Indian, 126 horsepower, great. It's not to say that. It's just, you can't just look at that and go, well, if their numbers are high, it's an all-around better motorcycle. That's not true. These are touring motorcycles. I will tell you this. I submit to you, because I've ridden both a lot. They both have plenty of power for a touring application. More power than you need for a touring application. Okay.
Yeah, they're just in different places. You know,
Correct.
You get your Harley horsepower sooner, and you get your in the RPM curve, and you get the Indian a little higher. And in order to get the most out of them, you learn where to ride that bike, where it likes to be.
Which is why that's going to be a revvy motor, right? Like the Pan Americas, they're a rev. You're going to run them high. They're going to rev. You're going to be more with a V45 V2, and it's more kicked back. And, not that either is bad. Again, not steering you guys. I just want to be clear there. Some people think I support all motorcycles here. We have in the Patron group, Goldwing riders, Indian, Harley. I own a Kawasaki. I own a Husqvarna. Like, we love all motorcycles. So don't think we're pushing you towards one. This particular episode is obviously about American-made V twins, so we're sticking to that for the most part here. But yeah. So yeah, you can look on paper and go, oh my God, it's amazing. Okay, yeah, the average rider and the way the average rider rides in tours, you're splitting some hairs. Here's the other thing. If we're going to do that, there's so many other factors that go into these bikes, guys. So let's just say, okay, Indian's got a big, smaller cubic inch motor, but more horsepower, but their torque comes in basically where Harley is, but we got different RPMs. They're going to sound different too, guys. You have to, what kind of sound? I mentioned that. And so if we're going to do this, we're looking at the Indian Chieftain, again, direct competitor to the Street Glide, with the 112, comes in at 844 pounds in running order. If you look at the Harley Street Glide with the 117 M8 in running order, 811 pounds. So that's the Harley Street Glide from the Chieftain is 33 pounds lighter. So yes, okay, the Indian has some more horsepower, but it's a lot heavier. So it's hogging some of that horsepower. So what I'm getting at is now you're getting down to, splitting a lot of hairs. We could dive in deeper in comparison, but that's necessary for my point is these are close, and this isn't gonna be a huge effect on the average rider out there. So just know that. Yeah, I'm trying to. Let's just go in, Lurch. I think we've said enough there.
Yeah, you do see that when you watch King of the Baggers. These are two, different motors, but they're neck to neck. I mean, they're right on each other. So there's different ways of getting the same end result. Right.
Interesting that you bring that up. So if you watch King of the Baggers, you will see a lot where it just depends. It depends on how the bikes are running. There's so much with King of the Baggers. It's not, and I get it, guys. Harley's one, Indian's one. It's fun and you want to root for who you want to root for, but there is so much that goes into racing. If it was just whoever has the best motor, there's so much, that goes into wrecks and points and whether the bike's running and what tweaks they make. If both running optimally, like Lurch says, they're neck to neck, but you can't really say, oh my God, Indian makes a better motor because they won last year. It's just not the way it works, guys. I wish it was that easy. Have fun with it, but don't take it to heart like that, because racing it's a whole season. And what if a rider makes a mistake? His bike could have been running optimally. Now he's behind in the standings. Indian did that. Harley did that. So, but what you'll see, my point being, and while I'm doing that, I'm plugging in my laptop, but I'll keep talking here. This is how multifaceted
Look
I am.
at you, man.
But
You're very talented.
What I'm saying here is, you'll see on those races sometimes, like at tracks like Daytona, just to name one, where there's a lot more room for speed and really opening those bikes up to that 170, 80 mile an hour that we've seen. But what you'll see on a lot of races is if their bikes are running optimally, Indian might just pull just a little bit ahead on those open straights. But on the lower end stuff where there's the corners and stuff, sometimes the Harleys can pull past them because they've got, so that's just what we're talking about. So you see it. You see it out on the track, even on where the different power deliveries are on these different machines, which on a more technical track, you might want the Harley. On a wide open track, the Indians are going to shine there, So, but you're still, like Lurch says, neck to neck. So let's move into craftsmanship and design, if you will.
Here's what they have to say. There is an attention to detail. Every element, from the part lines to the paint finishes, reflect Indian's commitment to quality and craftsmanship. They are performance-oriented styling where there is a sleek, chiseled bodywork which evokes a sense of speed.
Kind of like my body.
Very chiseled.
It's chiseled.
And power, showcasing the motorcycle's performance DNA. They did do some redesign of the Batwing fairing a little bit, worked on it to make it even more streamlined.
Yep. And it does look cool. I actually, that's a subjective. I like it.
Do you think it almost looks a little bit more like the shark nose fairing? Like they made it a little closer in look to that?
I didn't note that.
Kind of did to me a little
interesting.
bit. Just the shape of it. Like they took some styling cues from it, which could have been through performance and wind testing and all that kind of stuff. But definitely a little bit of rework there. Yeah.
Take a look at it. It's in our video, or you can get online, obviously. But they reworked the Batwing fairing. Now, unfortunately, you have a lot of keyboard warriors online. I've set the record straight before, but I'm going to do it here again. Because a lot of guys this year, they might say, oh my God, the Indian they're trying to copy Harley. And then last year it was Harley came out with the 24 redesign. Oh my God, it looks like an Indian. I get so tired. It is the part of being online, the cesspool of people. And here's the deal. It is factual. Harley-Davidson came up with the Batwing fairing. They were the first to introduce it. They were the first to have it on their bikes. At some point, Indian copied it and they have it on their bikes. Now, that is not a put down on Indian. That is how the iPhone and the Android went. Android copied iPhone. And now there's Androids. That was the first. You got to chase the leader, right? And you have to make similar products. With that said,
you're always paying attention to your competition. And when they do something that you see that's good, why wouldn't you
be foolish?
At a minimum, take it into account when you're making your product. I'm not saying that you copy them, but there's some imitation that may happen.
Yep.
Because you've got these two groups, big powerhouses, trying to make the best bike with the best wind efficiency and horsepower. They're obviously going to come to some of the same conclusions, and they're also going to have conclusions that are a little bit different. And so that you see them starting to look similar. I mean, it's just you can only make a Batwing fairing or shark nose fairing so many ways, right?
Right. And so, so Harley actually did that. Indian at some point made it. Like Lurch said, it's part of the industry. You can look at cameras here, microphones, mixers, it's iPhones, it's all the same. Somebody might want an Indian and go, well, I'd buy an Indian, but there's no Batwing fairing. Well, so they have to make a Batwing fairing. It's a traditional fairing. Mm-hmm. And of course, Kawasaki copies it and Honda copies it and everybody. So that is just the way the industry works. With that said, I just wanted to set the record straight. That is how it did. So when you hear people online saying Harley copied Indian's fairing, that is absolutely incorrect information. And like we say in the video, there's only so many ways they can create that fairing. Let's just stick with a Batwing or a shark nose for that matter. They're trying to do tests and wind deflection, and they're trying to suck your front end down for stability. You can only change that so much, and they're going to look pretty much the same.
Did you say they're trying to suck your front end?
Yeah, they are trying to suck my, and I'll let them too. I will let them. Thank you, Indian.
When I interrupt you like that, you almost look like a little perturbed at first, and then you're like, "Oh, I like that." That's
Do
funny.
I look perturbed? I didn't mean to look perturbed.
I don't think so, but maybe I just think you are.
Probably because I'm so focused, know.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate being interrupted for stuff like that.
I'm like, did I hear what I think you said?
That's good, dude. I didn't even catch myself. With that said, I will tell you, I think they did a really good job. I like the 2025 Indian Batwing and the redesign, and go take a look at it for yourself. And I love the 24, and here in 25, the Harley Batwing redesign. So let's, we're going to do, we want to talk, Dig. We talked a little bit about King of the Baggers, but there's some interesting stuff going on that we want to hit, but we're going to do this real quick.
Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation that equals less time installing and more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team of riders with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero and Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email at sales@zero3d.com or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged, so check out Zero 3D's custom line of Gold Strike products for the all-new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us and head on over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products.
So King of the Baggers is huge for not only Indian, but Harley-Davidson motorcycles. And so when we say up front, we're not trying to push you to one brand or the other. Here's what I'll say. I want both companies to succeed in a big way because at the end of the day, when they're competing, they're innovating and those products just keep getting better and better. And we as consumers are the beneficiaries of such. And so out on the track, they have been pushing these bikes. That's where we see, Indian in this case started out with that 108 PowerPlus. In 24, they went to the 112, intakes and exhaust and tuning and all those things. We saw the, CVOST from Harley-Davidson, which was super King of the Baggers inspired with different, Kyle Wyman ride mode. And, this King of the Baggers is the best thing that's happened to baggers that I can remember in my lifetime.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what was your saying? Competition
breeds innovation.
Bam, we're done.
And route.
Let's head out of here. All right, now drop the mic. With that said, so if you're not following King of the Baggers, whether you're, want to root for Indian or Harley or both, you are absolutely missing out. It is such a hoot to watch and you get into it. I get into it like a lot of people get into football, which I'm bored with. But I get on the edge of my seat and it's fun to see the teams go back and forth. Moto America, you can get a subscription and you can live stream all the events. I have them all on my calendar, so I like to get them as live as much as I can. If you don't catch it live, you can get the repeat.
Yep.
Just stay off social media until you watch because it'll be all over. But again, Moto America, I'm not sponsored by them, just doing a great thing with King of the Baggers. It looks like it might expand overseas now too. They're working on that, so we'll see where that goes.
But if anybody from Moto America is listening right now, we do have an open place on the podcast for a sponsor, and we like what you're doing, and we'd be happy to be part of it if you want to sponsor us.
And we won't make you back pay us for already mentioning you and promoting you. All right. Do you want to talk about suspension here in 25 for Indian?
Yeah. So they've got a 41 millimeter front suspension, and that cartridge is an inverted. So it's an inverted forks with, what's that say? I'm not sure what that means.
Where?
51 millimeters. Must be 50. Oh, I'm going to say
41 millimeters. 5.1 millimeter, yeah.
Of travel, it must be. It's got the Fox monotube shock with 4.5 inches of travel overall. And that's one thing we definitely have to give a nod to Indian with that front suspension. They got the inverted forks on all the bikes there, so that's nice.
Yes. Very plus for Indian there. I wish Harley would start doing that for sure.
On that Fox monotube rear shock, the standard is a manual preload adjustment, but on some of the models you can upgrade and get a electronic preload, which is pretty nice. That Pursuit that we tested had that on there, and you're able to set it up right there, and just take off.
It had all the bells and whistles for sure. So some things going on there. Definitely kudos, on the suspension, the inverted forks and stuff like that. Indian nailing it there. Harley's made good upgrades too, but I really would like to see them go inverted front forks for sure. I'll cover brakes, pretty simple. I give kudos to Indian here too. The radial mounted instead of axial mounted Brembo dual 320 millimeter semi-floating rotors, dual in the front, single in the rear. Of course, if you don't know, in a nutshell, radial mounted, Axial mounted are your standard. On Harley, where the bolts are perpendicular to the rotor, they kind of go into your forks, and the radial mounted are, what would you call that? Inline, basically, not perpendicular. What's the type it? What's
horizontal?
the opposite? Yeah, opposite of perpendicular. Anyways, if you're radial mounted, there's race bikes and all kinds of things use those. They're much more performance oriented. You can get a lot smoother and better braking and more aggressive braking. Would the average rider notice most of that? Probably not. But in an emergency braking situation or something, you wouldn't really be able to quantify that. But just, somebody who brakes front a lot or trail brakes in corners, those radial mounted really feel nice.
So the word you were looking for was perpendicular. So radial calipers are secured via bolts that run parallel to the discs, while axial mounted are held in place that are perpendicular to
I said perpendicular
parallel to the axle.
Okay, say it slow. Say radial mounted.
Radial calipers are secured via bolts that run parallel to the discs.
That was the one I was missing.
While axial mounted brakes are held in place with bolts that are perpendicular to the discs and parallel to the axle.
Yep. So I just missed the on the axial or on the radial. I couldn't remember parallel. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks for looking that up. Anyways, you have to look at them. That'll make more sense.
Yes. Sometimes it's hard to explain in words.
It is.
Once you see them, you're like, I know what that one is.
Exactly. I know what that is. So the clutch, guys, diving into that. So they use Indian uses a wet multi-plate assist. A lot of people call it a slipper clutch. And Lurch and I first experienced it. I was test riding and reviewing that over in the Spokane area a year ago. That's in the video there. But I wasn't actually familiar with that clutch or that they had put a slipper clutch in there.
Nor was I.
Yeah, nor were you. And so what that is basically, guys, Harley does not use a slipper clutch, and I'm appreciative of that. I am not a huge fan of this slipper clutch. And so basically I ride aggressively. I shift down aggressively to the point where my rear wheel locks up sometimes. And I'm okay with that because it's a feel for me when I'm going in doing certain maneuvers, whether it's a police bike or, training. I know right where that feel is. And when it starts to just walk on me a little bit when I shift down, and I like that sometimes going into a corner or whatever. And that's your engine braking, your compression. And all the bikes now are coming, Indian and Harley, with drag slip torque control, which minimize that rear wheel slippage if you do shift down aggressively. So you're pretty safe there these days. But what will happen with the Indian is you'll shift down and it's a slipper clutch, and that's exactly what it means. So you're not going to get instant engine compression braking to the rear wheel. It's going to be very delayed, and that's because the plates are slowly slipping until they come all the way together, and there's a delay in there, and so you don't get immediate gratification. And I think Lurch said on the video, is it a deal breaker? No. Something you'd have to get used to. That's going to be somewhat of a personal preference. I know not everybody rides as aggressively as I, and I understand that. So most people may not even notice.
You're definitely going to have to brake more. When we swapped bikes, you jumped on my Road Glide and I jumped on the Pursuit to try it. We started going downhill and some curves. So normally I will downshift and expect that engine braking to help me slow down and line up for the curve. And I did not get that. And I have to admit that I had a little second of, oh shit, I
forgot to tell you about it.
You did not tell me about it.
Nobody told me either. Yeah. I figured that shit out.
It would have been nice to know. But yes, if you're aware of it, then you just know, okay, I'm going to have to use a little bit more brake. The engine's not going to slow me down as much as I'd like to.
Yep. So just note that. You're going to get that different. I'm sure that, I actually don't know. I'm not going to go any further than that. But lighting, LED lighting all the way around for both Indian Touring and Harley Touring. So we're good there. Finally, everybody's up to speed. Some notable features here, some safety features, guys, and they call it their, what do they call it? A smart lean technology. So Indian came out with it years ago, and called smart lean technology. Harley, it's like RDRS, Reflex Defensive Rider System. I think they even changed the name since then, but that's originally on the Rushmore bikes or not Rushmore, but past that, they called it RDRS.
No, I think they're just calling it Rider Safety
Enhancements. Yeah, Rider RSE. Yeah. So these new Rider Assist features will be bundled with previous offered Smart Lean technology and come standard on vehicles with the PowerPlus 112 engine. So all those PowerPlus bikes we mentioned are coming with this. Now, there was a bit of interest in the press release, a little bit of confusion between Lurch and I because they made a claim. And so the claim they made is that with rider assist technologies. So they're basically saying, hey, we came out with some stuff this year and never before offered in the American V twin motorcycle. We at first we were like, okay, hang on. What do you, so it makes sense. I get why they said it the way they did, but it was a little confusing. So I'm going to handle these two. So two new features so these are two new features that Indian added in 25. Okay. So these aren't new to the market. I'll explain. So these two things that I'm going to mention that Indian came out with in 25 have been in Harleys for many years. Bike hold vehicle control. They call it bike hold control. Harley calls it vehicle hold control. Basically, I don't use it, but it's on my bike. It's just me. I'm comfortable on hills. I forget it's even there. I just don't need it. But if you're on a hill, you're not comfortable or not very experienced, you can push in on your brake real hard, your foot or hand, and it's going to lock the brake, and the vehicle's going to hold. You can let off all your brakes, and then it won't go until you let out the clutch a little bit or hit the gas. And then, so that's bike hold control. Again, Hardy had that all the way back. I don't know exactly, but at least 4 or 5 years ago, we started seeing that on some touring models. So that is not new to American-made V-twin. I am very happy that Indian has added that for those riders that need it. Also, electronically combined braking, Hardy calls it linked braking. That has been around since 2014 and first introduced on the 2014 Rushmore touring bikes for Harley. I was actually surprised. I had forgotten that Indian does not have that.
Yeah, they had ABS, but not linked.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
And the Pursuit we had didn't have that. And I can't remember if I went over that. So they announced that finally on their 25 bikes. You now get electronically combined braking if you don't know what that is, or linked braking. They all work the same. We all learned through training and experience to threshold brake. That's the proper amount of front combined with the rear for emergency braking and stops. It does it for you if you freak out and go code black. So a car pulls out in front of you, you haven't trained enough, you grab all front because you're shitting your pants. It's going to automatically add rear at the appropriate rate, and vice versa. That's going to save lives, avoid collisions and injuries. So it is a wonderful thing. Again, surprised that was just coming to Indian here in 2025. Now, Lurch is going to clean up the actual new things, and that substantiates their statement that these are a couple things that are first to American-made V-twin motorcycles.
And these are the two of them, and they're pretty cool. The first one is blind spot monitoring. So this system alerts the rider to vehicles in their blind spots via notifications in the side mirrors or on the ride command display. So like your cars, now, your automobiles, you'll get a little light that lights up in your mirror that you can see it. Some cars will give you a little vibration in your seat or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. You like the vibration in the seat. You don't like the blind spot.
No, I just want the vibration. They can get rid of the blinds. I just want the vibrations.
And then the other one is rear collision warning. So it pulses the rear taillights to warn approaching vehicles
when they get to a certain distance, and you can set that. Also, in their video, within that rear collision warning, you can actually set in your ride command. It'll tell you, and you can set it for distances like, hey, there's a vehicle following too close. It won't flash the brakes, but it tells you, hey, somebody's kind of tailgating. It's within the predetermined distance. Cool stuff. I'll be curious to see how it works. With that said, I am going down in late February to Vegas to test ride and review these bikes. And so I'll make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you're notified when I pop videos. We are coming out with a ton of stuff for you guys. And of course, after I review those bikes or ride them, overview in Vegas, I'll find out a lot more information on them. And we'll be doing a podcast on it too. Make no doubt about that for my trips. And the next week I'm headed down to Texas to test ride and review the Harley releases. So a lot of videos coming there. I'm going to be busy come the end of February. We'll be gone in Texas and Vegas. So a lot coming to the channel, a lot coming to the podcast. Again, I do it to just try to be objective and relate things back to you. Also, you can know what these bikes are about, not from a manufacturer standpoint, from an actual biker, rider standpoint, and make sense of it all for you and help you make your decisions. So those are the new stuff. Also, all the bikes, we said coming with, I think we kind of skipped over it, but they're coming with the Smart Lean technology And we had it here somewhere, but that's basically, I forget what they call it all. Drag tips, slip torque control, so the rear wheel doesn't lock up. Smart lean technology, ABS corner braking, all that stuff that Harley has. They've had some of that. We mentioned some of the new stuff here, but it's got it all now. It's got all the bells and whistles on those PowerPlus bikes as far as safety, rider safety enhancements. And hey, I always say that's a really, really awesome thing. So let's, we're going to talk about, we've got a bit more to talk about, and we're actually going to get into a little bit direct comparison pricing and things like that. So you definitely want to stay tuned.
Ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already. Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials, and it's unlike gel pads that'll leak if punctured.
Oh, my ass is leaking.
That's not good. The butt buffer is designed not to slide around your seat, fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easily cleans, and helps dampen those damn vibrations. With plenty of models to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head on over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions.
So one of the things on the, what was I going to say? Oh, the Indian Pursuit. Here's one of the things that I really want to know. And you'll see this in my review video. Again, very honest. I know that I'm blessed to go review these bikes and get access and all that. But you'll see a lot of channels, they just go down and gawk and they're so excited just to be with the bikes. And I get that. I don't go into it that way. I go into it on a mission to find out as much information about them so I can bring it back to you, the audience. And so with that said, I'm always fair. And in my review video of the Pursuit, one of my biggest complaints was heat on the inside of our feet from that 108 PowerPlus motor, especially the right foot, to the point where it's uncomfortable. And I've talked to other riders and anybody off camera. A lot of people like to defend the bike they bought. I get that. Not the best way to go about things, but I get why you do it. But people, when they're honest with you and you're having conversations, will tell you, yeah, it's a problem. And as you do more research it online, you'll find it is a problem. It's very uncomfortable. And I found that on the 108. So what I'm saying is when I go down to Vegas, I'm really hoping that they listened because there was a lot of complaints about it. And I'm hoping with the 112, they did some sort of a little bit of a redesign to help dissipate that especially heat off the right foot. It didn't matter if it was cold, didn't matter if it was hot. These bikes there was a lot of heat in that very centralized area there. Lurch, you felt it too?
Yeah, you did. That's another one of those things that you didn't warn me about, which was good because then I got to experience it. When I got off, I go, dude, I don't know what the deal is, but my right foot is hot as hell. And you said, yeah, me too. So not sure. It's some way they're dissipating the heat. I don't know if there's some type of collector there. The fans are pushing the hot air by. I don't know, but it is noticeable to the point where it's uncomfortable. Even in cold weather, it's somewhat uncomfortable. So hopefully they've figured that out with the 112, changed it a little bit. And
you better bet I will be testing and I will report back to you because that's a problem on a touring bike. It's definitely something they need to pay attention to. Ride modes, all coming to the PowerPlus. So standard across the expanded PowerPlus family, all three ride modes: rain, road, road and highway, sport, rain, road, sport. Yeah. Just like Harley. So very good that those are getting expanded. We love the ride modes. Nothing wrong with that. One of the big pluses for Indian, that I wish I dog Harley on it. They really need to fix this, but, it comes in those PowerPlus keyless ignition, and locking saddlebags. We have keyless ignition. Sorry. I didn't mean the keyless. Harley has that too, but the locking saddlebags and trunk, remotely. So you have a little key fob. You literally can just double click it just like you do your truck and walk away. Where Harley, we're still doing manual keys.
Unless you spend the 50 plus CVO. Grand to get a CVO. Yeah. It'd be nice to see it on just a standard on the touring models.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Harley needs to get on board with that. So plus to them on that. The Chieftain and Roadmaster, new chisel fairing, new look. Did they do that? Oh, the Roadmaster. Yeah. Cause those are the Batwings. So the Batwing fairings, we've already discussed that. One of the things to consider, one thing I noted on the Indian Pursuit, less lean angle, 31 degrees for the Indian Chieftain and 32 for the Harley Street Glide. Good direct comparisons. That 1 degree doesn't sound like a lot. It is. I ride hard. I ride aggressively. And it's the way the floorboards are on the Indian and on that Pursuit. And it was just really much easier to drag. I mean, I didn't go into it knowing the lean angles, but then I did research after. I'm like, why am I dragging so much? Now I know. So yeah, something to be aware of. A lot of people don't ride that way, so I get it. You may never notice. I'm just trying to give you all the consideration. So here's what we did. Lurch is going to go over some of this. So here's we have criteria here. Sometimes we can make direct comparisons and sometimes we can't. And we tried to do it as fair as I can. Cause let's just say you're in the market right now for a Batwing fairing and you're like, I want a Batwing fairing American made V twin. Well, here's the two bikes you're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at an Indian Chieftain and or a Harley Street Glide. Okay. Now we're going to keep it very, very simple. Okay. The Chieftain has a couple things. Let's just say the Chieftain has lockable saddlebags. The Harley Davidson has the brand new infotainment control digital dash. That's just one dimension. There's minor back and forth, right? We can kick the ball back and forth, but all in all, with that, it's very negligible. Okay. And we also are sticking on these with chrome, base model paint, base model chrome, because obviously we can add paint, we can add parts. We're not doing that. For an actual fair comparison, base model paint, chrome, Indian Chieftain versus the Street Glide, base price.
In the Indian, we had to use the PowerPlus version. So there is a base version that's cheaper, but it's got the 111 or 116 Thunderstroke. We had to compare the PowerPlus 112 to the Street Glide with the 117.
Yep. Basically, the best of both companies' motors for out of the box, on the bike, out the door. So these are their newest and greatest motors, the 117 Milwaukee 8 and the PowerPlus 112. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
With that said, so now you know the criteria and how we set it up. And then we'll do a shark nose in a minute, but here's the Batwing comparison.
Let's get ready to rumble.
And it actually surprised us, some of this digging in, because I wasn't aware. I do want to say real quick before he does that, and then he can do another Ready to Rumble, is a lot of people, when I did my video on and the podcast on the 2025 model release, the hard launch for Harley, we got a lot of comments. Oh, Harley's going down. Oh, they're outpricing themselves. Oh my God, it's not a consumer bike anymore. And oh my God, I'm switching to Indian. Oh my God, just shut up. No, they don't do their research because as you're going to find out, there's something interesting here.
Yeah, you can compare a Street Glide with the 117 to a Chieftain with the 111 Thunderstroke, but then you're not comparing. It's not a fair comparison.
Correct.
It is cheaper. It's a cheaper. The motor's not
way
as advanced, and there's less options. It doesn't have all the ride modes and everything. So yeah, it's just if you just look at that and say, well, the Indian's cheaper. A version of it's cheaper.
A cheaper version.
But when we're going apples to apples, the story's a little different.
Yes, sir. So let's reveal.
So looking at the Batwing bikes, the Chieftain Limited PowerPlus in chrome without any extra paint additives on it is $30,500. The Street Glide with the 117 in chrome without any of the extra paint add-ons is $27,750. So in that instance, the HD is $2,750 less expensive.
That's substantial, guys. And you won't find that with all the keyboard warriors and trash online, is they won't actually just go try to figure that out. That's what we do. So when you look at that, all those people that were throwing their hands in the air and saying they're running to Indian because Harley's too expensive, actually, you're going to pay $2,750 for a Batwing fairing bike over to Indian. Now, in no way am I trying to steer you. That is not why I'm doing this. Be educated, though. Go into it educated. Like Lurch said, you can get a Chieftain, air-cooled, old technology, V-twin 111 Thunderstroke. Great motor, by the way. Not going to have near the power, not going to get the ride modes, not going to get the technology. These are direct comparison. Unfortunately, like Lurch said, that's what a lot of keyboard warriors do. They think they're all smart, but they're not doing the proper comparisons. So moving on to the shark nose, again, same criteria. You're going to look at, if you want a shark nose in 2025 American made V-twin, you're going to look at the Challenger for Indian. You're also going to look at the Road Glide for Harley. Those, again, base model, paint, chrome, both with the newest, greatest motors and technology that Harley and Indian have to offer, direct comparison.
$30,500 for the Indian and $30,000 for the Harley Road Glide. So you're looking at $500 less expensive for the Harley.
Yep. And the reason that is the Road Glide and the Street Glide are the same exact bike minus the fairing, but Harley is charging a premium on the Shark Nose because they can. And a lot of companies do that because it's a very popular bike and it's supply and demand, and they're definitely going to capitalize on the bike they're moving the most. So it is more expensive. So that's where you get the discrepancy, but still at that, $500 less expensive for a Harley Road Glide. So throw it all, tear your papers up, smash your keyboards, all you keyboard warriors. There's the actual fact. So if you want to yell and scream that Harley's outpricing themselves, then you have to be fair and yell and scream that Indian is also outpricing themselves. That is the market that we're in, whether you agree with it, whether you like it. These premium touring bikes are premium and they come with a premium price, and we've seen that over the years. But there you go. Money comes into play. How much bang are you getting for your buck, and what kind of features do you want? So hopefully it was very helpful to me. I was actually surprised because in past Indian has been a bit undercutting Harley, but now Harley is undercutting a little bit and it kind of goes back and forth. These are the wars.
It does. And one of the things that we talked about either today or yesterday was Indian added a whole bunch of technology to the bike. The linked brakes, the cornering ABS, the straight line ABS, the traction control, the collision warning. That all makes those bikes cost more. So now they're getting closer to a price of a Harley, and they're competitive with Harley.
Yep.
Right. They're they're right in there. So in the end, buy whatever bike you want and have fun and ride it.
Exactly.
Just get your knees in the
be educated though.
Yes.
When you just want to go shopping, educated.
Buy the one you like and let her rip, dude.
Yes. It may just come down to looks. You may like one or the other, but at least you're educated and you don't get burned when you're making a purchase. So one thing definitely I'll call Indian out on is their 7-inch ride command system. It's not great. And they did not upgrade it in 2025. Now, in 14, Harley came out with the boombox, and in 19 they upgraded to the boombox GTS, which was a much better unit. But out of the gate, the ride command and the boombox, I'll tell you, both suck. And with the Pursuit, even in my review video, I had bugs, I had issues. Lurch has experienced them. Mm-hmm. It's not a great unit. You talk to Indian owners, not happy with it if they're not completely blinded to just try to justify the bike that they bought. You gotta get honest people that are like, I love my Harley, but I'm going to tell you some shit about it too. Indian owners will tell you, and I will tell you, that's not a great system. Neither was the boombox. However, in 24, Harley smashed the industry with their brand new infotainment control unit, IFCU, completely digital dash integrated speedometers, tachometers, your system, your maps, everything is completely digital. Now, mind you, I was concerned when Harley came out with that based on their past experience with boombox, but they really kept it tight, and they kept tight control of it, and it's been working amazing, and it's so beautiful. It would be hard to me to go to a bike without it on a touring because I'm so in love with that thing. Hopefully long term, we don't know, but it doesn't matter. Indian did not step up the game, and they're still running that old 7-inch ride command. I really think Indian needs to step up their game there, and by 26, get that, because you're not going to be super satisfied with that. Now, a lot of people, older Harleys, you do with the boombox, and you just go around it. You just use your phone, and you're going to have to do some of that with the ride command. It's just, you can only update it so much. Anyways, enough said about that. We can't leave the episode without talking about the new Sport Chief RT. We saw the Sport Chief in 24, and in 25, we got the RT. What's up with that, Lurch?
This one has rigid saddlebags coming stock on it. So the previous models of 2024 year did not have any saddlebags. This one has hard mounted rigid saddlebags to it. They look pretty cool. They're smaller, but they fit the size of the bike. It also has the quarter fairing on the front, the club style fairing. In addition to those saddlebags, they added a PowerBand Bluetooth speaker, which sits between the handlebar and that quarter fairing. It's got a nice little Bluetooth speaker that's got tweeters mid-range and a 4-inch subwoofer. How much bass that kicks out, I'm not sure, but a nice little thing hidden behind there that you can Bluetooth your phone to and get some sounds out of it. It's a good looking bike.
Rock out with your cock out.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, we wanted to do a direct comparison with the Sport Chief RT to a Harley model. It can't be done.
Some have said the ST. But
Right. So here, I'll explain it to you. So people that are doing those comparisons, incorrect in my opinion, and I think you'll agree with me once I tell you. So you can take the Sport Chief RT and you can look at something like the Harley Dyna Lowrider S. Well, the Harley Dyna Lowrider S doesn't come with the speaker and it doesn't come with saddlebags. You look at the RT, it comes with hard saddlebags and a speaker. So we can't really do a direct comparison there. Now, some will say, oh, well, I'm going to compare it to the Lowrider ST. And the Lowrider ST has the bigger fairing. Remember, it's still a, club style bike, smaller bike, cruiser, I should say. But it has the larger fairing, and it does have a stereo system and hard bags, but the RT has the small club fairing, the little quarter fairing. So that's not fair. If that's not fair to Harley, it's not fair to the Sport Chief. They're different bikes, and you can't direct compare those in pricing. It's just not possible because we don't know what goes into that large fairing for Harley, and we don't know what goes into the saddlebags and the speaker system. So people that are doing that online, be very wary of that. Again, they aren't setting up the appropriate criteria. Sometimes you just don't have direct comparison. You got to eat it. You just got to say it like we do.
And in addition to that, the Sport Chief has the 116 air-cooled motor. The ST's got the 117 twin-cooled with all the extra.
It's not twin-cooled.
Sorry, the 117, but it has the ride control. It's got the modes, and it's also got the ABS and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, true. Yes.
A lot more technology on that 117 than there is on the Sport Chief.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought up that too, because that's just another reason that if people are doing that, I would quit watching or listening.
You can only compare them in looks to some degree.
Exactly. Now, we can compare the motors a little bit. So the Indian is air-cooled. Like he said, it's the 116 Thunderstroke, 79 horsepower at 120 foot-pounds of torque at 2,900 RPM. The Milwaukee 117 that's coming on the Lowrider S and ST is a 117 M8 high output. It is air-cooled. 114 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 128 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. So you can see between the Thunderstroke, that's an older style 45-degree V-twin. You've got lower torque, lower RPM torque, lower horsepower. Because this is tuned high output, the Milwaukee 8, it's you're running in at 114 horsepower, and it's just a newer motor than the 116 Thunderstroke. It's been around forever.
They'd have to put that 112 PowerPlus into this Sport Chief to make it a little more of a equal comparison.
Yes, exactly. So we just wanted to tell you that. Take those numbers for what they're worth. And then there's a new, 2025 Super Chief Dark Horse Lurch?
Yeah, the Super Chief has been around, but they've added a dark horse to it, and this is all blacked out. Fender to fender, premium gloss paint. And something else to note is on the Scouts, they're all coming with forward controls in 2025. Those can be changed to mid controls. For those that want to be in more of an aggressive riding position. But that is just something interesting to note that they've moved them forward.
Yeah, very good to know. We hope that this episode was very informational and that you can now be educated on what type of bike you want to buy. And hopefully we dazzled you with a few things like, I did not know that the Indian was more expensive. I did not know that Harley did this. Razzle dazzle. There you go. We hope it was informational. Hope it was entertaining. Hope it was infotaining. With that said, we appreciate our patron members. We want you to become a patron member because, heck, we want to get to know you better in the private Facebook group. We want to get you benefits. But the only way you want to support us right now is through a flat donation. Well, we never balk at a flat donation. Lurch wants to thank the following people.
And before I do, I say that voicemail earlier was in reference, or at least it was keyed off of some of your recent podcasts where you've been making up funny names for me to say.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's where McWeenie came from.
Gotcha.
I'm scanning this one. I don't see any trickery.
It would be fun just to say it. You don't have to avoid it. It would be funny just to try to say it.
There's Carl Edwards of Talking Rock, Georgia, Mark Juron of Warwick, New York, and Daniel Schill of Murphy, Texas.
lawabidingbiker.com/donate. We're so thankful to each and every one of those names just mentioned. Again, lawabidingbiker.com/donate, or head to the homepage of the Law Abiding Biker website. There's a big donate button there. Some of those come in the form of donations in the store. People tip us. Not only do they shop in our store, but they tip us because we help a lot of people, guide them through a purchase process or what they want to get. Humbled. That's the only word I have to say for that. Humbled. So thank you so much for all your support. And again, a lot going on here. Of course, the beginning of 2025, it's always like this. Hardy comes out with its deal, and here's our new shit, and then Indian right the next week. Bam. Well, Hardy, here's our shit, and I'm going to Vegas to test Indians, and I'm going to, to Texas to test Harleys. And, it's a back and forth game. And again, what does this mean at the end of the day? This is all awesome for the industry and the consumer, guys. So just remember that. Don't get into the game of Ford Chevy and all that bullshit. It's old. It's dumb. If you want to tease about it, like we tease Batwing and Shark Nose, but when we do it, people clearly know we're teasing. Like me and Lurch will, hack on each other. Oh, Shark Nose guy. Oh, Batwing guy, right? But don't get into that game. We want these companies to innovate. We want them to push. At the end of the day, buy whatever bike you want. Maybe you want a Goldwing, go buy a Goldwing. Maybe you want a Harley, buy a Harley. An Indian. All bikes will speak to particular riders. They have different needs. I think I don't want the necessarily higher revvy engine right now. I want it, but I want it in a cruiser. Then I'm okay with it. But in a touring, I'm a little bit old school, a little bit more laid back. So again, that personal stuff, that doesn't mean you have to believe what I believe.
Right.
That's just my
Go with
deal.
What fits you.
That's why I'm running
All bikes matter.
All bikes matter. There you go. Yeah, dude. Dude, we need to bring bike DEI back, dude. Yeah, just not. Okay. But yeah, at the end of the day, all I say, like I said, is just be educated. Make sure, when you, be courteous online. I'll say that. If you are going to make a comment, we love the comments. We love good, solid conversations and questions. And people make a point like, oh, I found this out. Well, that's good information. Have educated conversations online, but steer away from those, Indian sucks. Harley's bullshit. Harley's corporate. Indian's corporate, all that stuff. Stay away from it. And mostly shut up and get out there and frickin' ride. That's the main thing, guys. That's what we're all in this sport for. Free the soul.